This is my dad with my son back in 2007. When my siblings and I were young, we used to spend time out at local parks in Salt Lake launching small Estes rockets. Just like this rocket you see here. If you've launched these when you were a kid, you're familiar with them. There's the rocket itself and the little C-65 engine that goes in it. Pretty typical. So my dad passed away back in 2012. At the time, we scattered a small amount of his ashes in some smaller rockets down on Fiesta Island, smaller motors. I think we got him up to about 800 feet. Most of the rest of his ashes we took up to this lake up in the mountains outside of Salt Lake. It's very beautiful. The rockets that we used to launch his ashes on Fiesta Island actually both crashed. I was just getting back into rocketry at the time. So I've had this little bit of ash that I never did launch. It's been sitting in this can on a shelf in my garage near all my other rocket stuff. And I figured once I got really good at rocketry, I would try doing this again. So here's that same Estes rocket with that little C-65 motor. That shiny metal aluminum tube that's sitting above it is the motor for this ash launch. So that's an L motor, as in Larry. And I just love the fact that the motor itself is larger than the rockets we used to launch when we were kids. And then there's the rocket that I use, the big red one there. It's 4 inches in diameter and about 6.5 feet tall. And this is prepping for launch. So Dad liked Gershwin, and Rhapsody in Blue was his favorite song. But memorials are for the living, and my siblings and I are Gen Xers, and launching ashes to 8,800 feet in Mach 1 is more Angus Young than George Gershwin. Okay, a lot of stuff happens pretty quickly there, so I'm going to replay this again a couple times, regular speed, and then a couple slow motion so you can see. Okay, I'm going to play this again at 1/10 speed. The altimeter fires a charge that separates the rocket right there. You can see the blue can with the ash tumbling out, scatters a little bit, then the small chute opens up, it tips the can upside down and really empties it out. Now the fireball you see is the backup altimeter firing the charge just in case the first one doesn't separate the rocket. That's a safety thing. We don't want 13 to 15 pounds worth of pointy fiberglass with the metal tip coming back down at Mach 1. It'll wreck anybody's day that it hits. So. And here's where it landed out in the desert. You can see the sand and the brush there. A few more interesting things. You just have got some stills here. This is the rocket just barely hitting Mach. The red band on that vertical airspeed gauge on the left is the speed of sound. We just barely hit that, and then you can see it's doing that at about 1,771 feet. This here is a screenshot of what I see on my phone. There's a GPS transmitter in the nose of the rocket that transmits back to a little receiver that I have. That Bluetooths my phone and I get this display. So the blue dot there is me. The rocket is actually where the rocket's at. I can see the distance to it and the max altitude and the current altitude and all this good information. Gets me right to my rocket. And here's just a few more stills of the action if you want to see them. The little parachute attached to the ash can actually got tangled in the main harness. It wasn't supposed to do that, but it ended up bringing the whole thing down together, so I didn't actually litter with that little can. And so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.